Okay, let me give you the conclusion up front. If you want to see the full video using that music and these notes, please continue. I'll go ahead and give my thoughts right up front. I think that this is an excellent set. I think that it is a better set than the IE900. And by better, I mean just sheer resolution and ability to pick up micro details that I listened for on the list that's over there at the bottom. I call it Easter eggs. The double beep on Michael Jackson Wanna Be Starting Something on the left side between 1:27:31. Doesn't matter about the tuning, it's the quality of the drivers. Some stuff that's really good does it, plain ours do it. This does it. This is very, very good. It's a resolution beast. It gets every micro detail out. It has good bass. It is tuned well. It has good mids. It has extension with slightly abnormal elevation in the upper treble or the upper mids to the treble region. It didn't impact the replay, except it made cymbals sometimes instead of sounding like tss, it was like the whole life of it, which is okay, because if there's info there, then you're going to hear it, and if there's not, you won't. So the cymbal is tailing off that long, and this was able to pick it up, and I thought that that was very impressive. Negative would be that this plays back percussions. Kick drum was the first notice with when the levee breaks, and then also Heart, Crazy on You, where he comes in with the drums, brum 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 brum, crazy on you. That also sounded slightly subdued. The drum kit as a whole, for reasons that are not related to the tuning frequency response graph, because that looks totally normal, is a little bit subdued. The bass lines are good, lacking a little bit of bite and on the pulls and the releases of bass strings, but I found it to be pleasing. I totally enjoyed Sultans of Swing. Vocals, female vocals were excellent. Male vocals were good. Don McLean, Vincent, he was slightly forward a little bit more than a lot of sets that I'm used to enjoying, but it was just such an overall clear, clean, natural sounding replay that I totally loved this set. And listening with the IE900 and then looking at the graph and seeing the subdued gain region on the IE900 and then listening to this, and this is a better set. This was tuned better, and it's offered at a better price. I don't really care about what they're talking about with driver technology. I haven't looked. If they say that it's superior in the IE900, that's very nice. I disagree with the quality of the playback being IE900 being better because it's more expensive. I cannot see a reason why you would get the 900 and not this. And if anybody tells you that the IE900 is a better set than this, drill down. What song are they talking about? And then when they tell you the song, what part of that song are they talking about, so that you can listen and follow up and then go back later and decide for yourself whether or not that makes any sense whatsoever. I think this is a great set. I think it's kind of expensive for a single dynamic driver, but I love DDs, and if they're done well, it's worth the money. Driver count really doesn't mean anything. Kind of does, but we won't get into that in this video. So I think the resolution is fantastic. I think it plays back everything naturally. It's got a slight something just short of ideal when it comes to percussions. The kick drum, and it's mentioned in this video notes if you continue, there's something about it. Other people might pick up on that. Overall, a great set. I like it a lot. I purchased this because I saw the Crin's review of it and of DD A+. Yeah, I gotta check that out. Not bummed at all, and sometimes bummed happens. Not bummed. Like it a lot. Good set. If you're interested in the specific reasons why I think that the percussions are a little bit, but why the detail is so exceptional, please continue and watch the full review. And that's my conclusion in the front of my video before the review. Makes no sense. Kind of like them charging less for this. Those dogs are a sign for me to leave. That should be on your left channel. I don't know if people know this is binaural. Did you hear the dogs on the left side? Hold on a second. I got a very nice microphone set up on this. Anyway, that's it. Watch the review, please, or not. Good set. Okay, it's going to be a review for the Sennheiser IE600. This is the Unbox, but the review is going to follow it right away. This is a single dynamic. Looking at the specs, it is a 7mm true response transducer, etc., etc. So it's a little bit smaller than some other sets you might be familiar with. This is the box. Take it out. It's about $800 plus in Japan. It's quite pricey because it's an import. This is the box. I believe it's a slide out. You get the little pull piece right here. Slide that out. Take that out, and then in the inner part you've got the buds themselves. These are actually these are quite small. Let me go ahead and grab the melee, which is right here. This is the melee, for example, which is not really a large IM, but it is substantially larger than this one. So this one contains a 10 millimeter graphene driver, and this one has the 7 millimeter true response transducer. So it's quite a small one. The issue that I had at some points with the IE900 was inability to get a strong fit because of it's so small. So that might sound like a non-problem for a lot of people, but for me it kind of was. Great tuning on the IE900. Fit was not actually ideal. So that's the IMs. They're in the foam. Take this out. You've got don't know what that is, like rice paper or something. Feedback card, I guess. A warranty card that comes on this top tray. And then on the inside you've got 3 pairs of silicone tips that are obviously small, medium, large, and then you've got foam tips that are the same. I believe these have, let me go ahead and take one of these off. Yeah, it's got like that diffuse lattice work that goes in the front that's a little bit kind of part of the tuning, especially with the treble. Doesn't really impact the bass that much. One question I have that somebody could answer in the comment section is, when these run out, where do you get them? Is it Sennheiser, and how much do they cost? I should probably check that out myself. You also get a 3.5 cable. Quality is honestly not that great, but I don't know if I'm giving them excuses. It's okay. It's also got a clip and a cleaning tool, and then a case. That has a balance cable. Oh, wait a second. I thought somebody said that the IE900 part of the difference was that it came with a balance cable. Mine comes with a balance cable. I didn't know that till just now. Nice. That's a nice little bonus there. So I do have a 4.4. So the big difference between this set and the IE900 is I'm gonna have to learn, because I don't really look too much. I saw Crinical's review of this set, and I was intrigued because you guys know that I like dynamic drivers, and the IE900 was pretty nice. Fit is a thing, but it's a pretty nice set. So let me go ahead and put this back, finish up with the unboxing. It does come with a balance cable, so if you didn't know that, I thought somebody said that it didn't. I'll go ahead and get to music. So that's the unbox. Let's start with the bass. I'll go ahead and kind of give you my overall impressions because I don't script myself. I think this is a better set than the IE900. I think they did a better job with this. It sounds to me like the IE900 was a idea that didn't get accepted by the community, and then they redid it, and it's the 600, because the 600 sounds better to me in every way. Everything I listen to sounds better on this set. And I paid full price for the 900, so I don't know what's going on. It's good for you, the consumer, and I guess that's the point, but it's better than the 900. Yay, but I don't know what Sennheiser is doing. The big boy Killjill triple drop, which is something that is applicable to the hip-hop wing of my library, whether it's Tupac, Biggie, Wu-Tang, Ghetto Boys. I need the energy and the drops, and that's there, and it sounds quite good. And then there's either somebody came in and laid down a track, a bassist, or they sampled. There's also a four-string bass guitar, so there's two things going on. It did both of those quite well. I was pleased. I listened to Massive Reality, Sweet Leaf really quick, and I thought it sounded good. And I listened to other stuff, but so that I don't make this video too long, let me go to something that stood out in not a good way. So while Big Boy Killjill was excellent, Led Zeppelin, when the levee breaks, the authoritative, impactful kick drum by John Bonham, which is something that at the time of the release of the album, the reviews at that time were noting how absolutely kind of jarring that was, to just doom, 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 doom. That was just epic the way they produced it. And then they've done videos in the modern day recently about, that was done, I think, Hadley Grange, and a stairwell with a mic hanging down, and the hardware that they were using. They didn't have software back then. And there's a story behind it because it's an iconic moment, and that moment is powerful. And on this set, it doesn't come through. And I don't have any idea why. I checked a graph that is similar, which is the Elysian Acoustic X, which has a 10mm dedicated low-frequency driver. That, tuned even slightly less than this, gives me that boom, 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 boom. I get that from a set that's actually tuned a little bit less than the IE600 by a bigger driver and a dedicated driver. I can't really... The graphs will tell you a lot, but they're kind of limited as well, because this would tell me I'll grab the 600 because that's going to give me my bass fix a little bit better than the other. If they're the same price, I'll pick that one. Yeah, no, it would be the Elysian X or other sets. There's a lot of other sets that actually hit harder. So I don't know what that's about. Going back to bassist and also listening to vocals, Dire Straits, Sultans of Swing, I was listening to the bassist, as I always do, and then I got kind of stuck on the drummer because I was listening to everything that he was doing, because I could pick up everything that he was doing. And at one point I was listening to the hi-hats opening and closing, and then I was noticing another thing, and I just got so caught up while I was writing down notes, can hear everything. The drummer was just taking me. Then Mark comes in with his guitar solo, the first kind of one, and it sounded brilliant. So I was totally impressed with the replay of Sultans of Swing. I thought it did great. So in the bass, I think the drops for hip-hop are fine. I think that bass guitars sound fine. They sound excellent. In fact, for some reason, and it'll come up again in this review, the kick drum and toms and snares sound a little bit not as I would expect based on how the bassist is doing, and there's nothing on the graph that's indicating there might be one going over the other. It's an interesting phenomenon, and that's the bass. It's quite good. It's not ideal. Okay, the mids. Let's start with Fleetwood Mac, because 2 male and 2 female singers. Dreams. And there you go again, you say you want your freedom. That moment where I can get a hint that there's going to be a little bit too much energy up in the vocals doesn't actually show itself. She sounds brilliant. Female vocals sound excellent on this. Male vocals sound good, but in a different way. I thought this sounded great. Everything that I listened to on this album was top notch. Listen to Dreamboat Annie, Crazy on You. There's an acoustic at the intro. Sounded brilliant. The vocals sounded amazing. The bass sounded realistic. It sounded actually very good. What jumped out at me, and I wrote down in my notes, and if you have Dreamboat Annie, on this track, timestamp 248 to 250, he goes across his kit real quick. He does a sweep across it. It didn't sound... I had to go back a couple times and replay it because I'm waiting for him to come brum 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 brum, crazy on you. He serves her up before she starts to break in, and it doesn't really sound like it. And then I went back mentally to the kick drum, and a lot of times when the kick drum doesn't come in the way that I expect, it's because the tuning and the mid bass is tucked in. This said that's not the case. Everything sounds brilliant on this, but drums seem to be slightly different. It could be because it's a 7mm driver. I can't, again, looking at the graph, there's absolutely no reason to think that this set would have less low frequency than the Elysian X. That's a tri-bird and it's a dedicated driver, but this is the amplitude and the energy being put into that region. Shouldn't be very different, and it should be the 600 if anything, but it's actually not. So I totally enjoyed that track. I thought it sounded dope, but that's the second time the drums kind of came into my mind to the point where I wrote it down. Something sounds a little bit different. Sticking here, I want to go to here we go. This is Don McLean. It's a track called Vincent. For people out there that don't know, actually Tupac Shakur's favorite song was Vincent, which is about Vincent van Gogh, and it's a Don McLean song. And when Tupac was dying, his mother was playing this. When he passed away, based on what she said, and I believe his half sister and a half brother, Moprim, this is the track that she was playing repeatedly on the day that he died because it was his favorite song. And then if you read the lyrics, it kind of makes sense why she might be playing that. But anyway, I thought that this sounded great. I thought that the vocals, this is really Don McLean and acoustic guitar, pretty much. There's two things to focus on. He sounds slightly forward. Vocal tad forward, but great. So it's very clear and it's very enjoyable, but he's right there. Where female vocals don't sound put on you, they sound sweet and perfect. This track right here sounded a little bit up on me, but in a good way, because just the quality is so excellent. It wasn't shouty, it wasn't sibilant, it wasn't anything negative like that, just prominent. And an epic track, and I'm glad I got to talk about that Tupac thing, because I don't know if anybody ever imagined that his favorite song was written by Don McLean, and that when he passed away, that's the song he was listening to. Rest in peace to him. And that's the mids. So the low frequency is good. There was one exhibit of the kick drum. The mids sound great. There was another exhibit of the mid bass and the mids related to drums and some of the overtones that begin the second order for the low frequency drums. Something a little bit unique. I can't quite explain what it is. And that's the mids. Okay, in the treble, first thing I'm going to try out is some ELO. I'm a person that watches Dan's audio reviews because I absolutely love music. In the video, last video that I watched, he actually had Neil Young like welcoming when I went in there, so that was dope. I think he plays Mr. Blue Sky a lot. I was listening to Living Thing. It's there's a lot of upper mid treble energy going on. There's strings and horns. There's keyboards that are doing, I think the string section is just a synthesizer actually. There's a lot of upper mid and treble energy going on in this, and all of it's there, and it's not in a way that is too much. It's a very fine line. I want to hear every micro detail, but I don't want to listen for 15 minutes only. Like, that's something that you got to negotiate. You can have every bit that you can get, but at the cost of fatigue. It's a fine line to straddle. I think that the IE600 does this better, more clearly, and for long listening friendly than the 900 does. And this plays out again and again, I thought that. So I thought that ELO sounded great. I also listened to Earth, Wind and Fire September and listened to trumpets, and I thought it sounded brilliant. This is a very, very good set. I wonder if people thought when I was talking about drums that I was not liking it. No, everything's got good and bad points. Because this was so detailed, I wrote, brought me to Mike. I instantly thought, Michael Jackson, want to be starting something. Minute 29 to minute 32. There's a left channel beep. It's a double beep, and it's only on the left side, and it sounds like a slight production error because there's no reason for it to exist. It doesn't happen at any other point in the track. And it's very hard to catch because it's not where it exists in the frequency. It's the resolution and the capability of the driver to do it. Planar will do this really good. Again, Michael Jackson from Thriller. Depending on the version you have, this is a DSD. It's about a minute 29 to a minute 31 seconds. It's a hee-hoo. It's like a double soft beep, but you can pick it up, and a lot of people have. And there's a ton of gear that you can't. If I even try to go get this, it's because I'm impressed with what I'm listening to. And this played it really good, and it plays it better than the IE900. So every time I was listening to little things. It's like focusing on the drummer in Sultans of Swing when I'm thinking that I'm going to be focusing on the basses, because I could just pick up everything. And for a second I'm thinking, is something going wrong because it sounded different? But I was just getting all the details. So this is a resolution beast. And that's why I'm listening to Michael Jackson, and it plays everything great. It's not overwhelming. There is a tuning thing going on from about 8K and it goes out to about 15K, and it's elevated, totally opposite from the Elysian Acoustic X. At no point did it sound like a problem, except, and it's not a problem, but let me point it out. Led Zeppelin, Coda, Hey Hey What Can I Do? I'm listening for the repeated cymbal strikes, and I wrote down long life. The cymbals sounded great. The initial impact of the cymbals sounded good, not emphasized really, but the life of the tail of the cymbal sounded almost unnaturally long. But it's, if there's no info there, there's nothing to hear. There is something there. There is energy going. There is harmonic extension because I'm hearing it. So it's not an unnatural event. It's not sibilant. It's not something offensive. It just was a little bit jarring to hear it go that long, and to listen again and then to catch that again. Like, that's just like that just went for a long time. But that's impressive, actually. So that's the treble. The treble is excellent. It might look like it's too energetic for upper harmonic stuff, for strings, for everything that I listened to. That didn't play out. For vocals, it didn't get on me, where I looked at the graph and thought maybe vocal harmonics being overemphasized. Perhaps with a different type of transducer, but with the dynamic driver, no, it sounds like a beast. So I'm going to stop this and give you my conclusion.